Hello everybody, this is Jared Passy, and this Lots of Pips training video is going to be on Forex money management. How do we manage our money in the Forex market? How do we make the most and help our money work the hardest for us? There are many arguments out there stating that money management is probably one of the most important things you can learn and master in the Forex market. Having a good strategy, having your trading mindset, having the right tools is important, but if you don't have good money management and you don't take care that you are maximizing your profits, minimizing your losses, then you will struggle in this market. Alright, I've put together an Excel spreadsheet here that is available on our website, lotsofpips.com, to the members only, for our member section. If you have questions about becoming a member, just email me at lotsofpips@gmail.com. and we'll see what we can answer some questions there. But let's get into our money management spreadsheet here. First of all, we want to talk about risk. Okay, when we talk about risk, let's look at a risk tolerance sheet that I have. There we go. So this is a risk tolerance calculator. Basically what we do is we plug in a starting balance up here, and this chart shows us what a series of consecutive losses can do to your account at different risk levels. So you can play with and try different risk amounts in here. Basically you just plug in the number, and let's say we start with a $10,000 account, and let's say you have, worst case scenario is you'll have 10 losses in a row. Okay, so if you started with a $10,000 account and we're risking 2% per trade, so in other words, 10,000, 2%, that's $200 on your first trade. Okay, if you consecutively lost 2% 10 times in a row, you would be still over 80% of your account positive. Okay, so your 2% would only yield you a loss of about 19% if you had 10 in a row. Now, some people you've heard that say that, well, if you risk 2%, you can have 50 trades in a row and still have more than half your account. That's not accurate. Actually, you'd be about below half your account at on your 35th trade in a row. Now, I tell this to people. I say if you have 35 losing trades in a row, then you have other problems. So you need to take care of those as well. But determining your risk tolerance percentage is very important. Now, when anybody's demo trading, it's very easy to just shoot at the wind and try whatever and see what happens. However, when you're trading on a live account, I would recommend you be very conservative as you start out. There's a big difference between trading on a live account versus trading on a demo account. I usually recommend people stick between 1 to 5% in their whole career as a trader as far as risk per trade. That means that once you really have a good idea what you're doing, a good system, you've tested it, you're very confident, you're very sure that you've got a very consistent system, then you can be up around 5% risk on your trades. If you're starting out live, I'd recommend you play with some small lots, even as far as just to trade one mini lot or even trade micro lots. That's going to depend on your account size. So here's what we do. If we look at the comparison between 2% and 5%, okay, let's go to 1% and 5%. Okay, so at 1% we're risking, with $10,000 balance, we're risking $100 per trade, and 5% we're risking $500 per trade. If we have 10 losses in a row, we still have more than 90% of our account. If we have 10 on 1%, if we have 10 losses in a row, we still have almost 60% of our account left. Quite a bit of difference between 1% and 5%. Now, obviously, if you are risking 1% and 5%, you are if you're risking more, then you're hoping to gain more on the wins, and that's where greed will come in and try to get you to increase the number of lots you trade to get you to win more. Now let's look at an income calculator. Now this simply goes and says, if you were to make 10% per month, what would that be? Well, we just count out the months. The first month you'd turn 10,000 into 11,000, and after 10 months